G'day, Michael Young here, once again back in the home office. This week what I wanted to do was to talk about personal and self-development. What I've done over the last few weeks is enroll in and complete a number of courses. I've upgraded a professional certification, and I've also been able to finalise and wrap up a graduate diploma in portfolio management. Now, what I've found is that professional development takes all different forms. Quite often people think, oh yeah, you know what, I've got to go off and I've got to do a course and so on. Or I need to go to a physical place and study, and that's great. But professional development can come in a myriad of different forms. I actually spend almost every day learning something. It's something that I've done for many, many years, and it's something that I commit to doing all the time. And so what do I do? Well, firstly, I mentioned a moment ago, I did a couple of courses. I recently went to Sydney and did a course on chairing company boards, and that was fantastic. So there's some networking and learning opportunities there, but the discussion was absolutely brilliant. But every day when I'm in the car, I listen to podcasts, and so I download and listen to a number of podcasts. Some of my favourites are Small Business, Big Marketing. Timbo Reid talks about business and marketing, and he interviews a number of different guests, usually in about a 45-minute scenario. So that's a great one. Another favourite is Freakonomics, and so Stephen Dubner and Stephen Levitt, who are both economists, many years ago wrote a book called Freakonomics, and they've also written numerous other books since then. And so Stephen Dubner produces a podcast every couple of weeks, and it talks about a particular aspect of the economy, but it's not done in a dry economic sense. It's usually getting to the root and the nub of the way that people behave, and looks at different circumstances. And so that's a great one as well, and makes you think about what's happening in the world and so on. I also listen to a number of other marketing and business type podcasts as well, but probably one that's a favourite also is Duct Tape Marketing, and written by also a podcast by John Jantsch, and he's written a book on that particular topic. Now, speaking of books, there's a number of books that I'm currently reading and working my way through at the moment. I've got a big pile over here. A couple of classics. Geoffrey Moore, Crossing the Chasm. This is all about developing digital markets and basically developing new products, and predominantly focus on the startup world. And so trying to get from that sort of early startup through to the early majority, and to look at how you develop your business. Some other great books, Influence by Robert Cialdini, absolute classic, looking at the psychology of persuasion, looking at how people buy and make decisions and so on. Another great book, Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson. Russell is one of the gurus in internet marketing, and what he wrote about was how do organizations and individuals basically develop and create a following online. And so absolutely great book. He's interviewed all sorts of different people to actually create this, so get that one online as well. Great books around content marketing. Joe Paluzzi is the author, all about developing content marketing. Duct Tape Marketing, John Jantsch, as I mentioned a moment ago, and so on and so forth. You can see, of course, the bookcase in the back, and so you can see there I'm a pretty avid reader, and I usually spend at least half an hour every day reading before I go to bed. One of the great ones, which I'm going to talk about in a separate video, is this book all about business model generation. And what I've just finished doing is recording a session on business models and how organizations need to develop business models, and how the business model has changed as a result of the internet. And you only need to look at the Ubers and the Airbnbs and all of those sorts of online platforms to see that we've got a significant change to the way that businesses operate. And so the business model generation book helps you to create what's called a business model canvas. And the business model, when you think about it, is fundamentally how you as an organization effectively generates a sustainable business, how you generate sustainable revenue, and what resources and skills you need to deploy to be able to do that. And so another great book. So as I say, courses, books, podcasts are things that I do all the time. There's also a myriad of different emails, newsletters and other things I subscribe to. I watch a lot of videos and it's a real eclectic mix. I listen and watch videos from different marketing people, different business people, people in different parts of the business sector in different kinds of businesses, in project management, in other areas as well. And so what I find is that by listening to and watching a range of different types of material, types of different content, it gives me a whole range of different kinds of ideas. One thing I find is that in many areas we tend to operate in a very siloed way, and most professionals tend to read and watch and listen to only things within their discipline. I think it's really, really important to listen to things and watch things and read things that are outside of your discipline, because otherwise you're not going to expand your thinking, expand your mind, and think about things in different ways and so on. So I think it's important to look outside of your discipline, outside of your technical area, and so on. I can't recall who said it once, but one of the sort of the business gurus suggested that what you should in fact do is, if you are into going to conferences or to online meetups or webinars or those types of things, it's really important to actually make a point of going to a conference in an area outside your industry. So if you're working in architecture, design and so on, go to a marketing conference or go to a business conference or go to an economic conference, something that's just quite different. It's outside of the regular thing, and you'll be surprised at how interesting it might be and what you pick up. I think the other thing too is that you've got to have a curious mind. You've got to commit to lifelong learning. You've got to commit to constantly making improvements and making changes and learning new things. It's only when we start to learn those new things and commit to those changes and commit to lifelong learning that we actually continue to get better at what we do and we continue to adapt and evolve. Now, the world around us is constantly adapting and evolving. The world that we work in as a person and as a business owner and operator constantly is changing. And so we need to learn, we need to keep up with what's going on, and we need to constantly adapt and evolve. And I think committing to that lifelong learning, watching the webinars, listening to the podcasts, watching videos, doing courses, speaking to people, reading different things are all fantastic ways to help us see what's coming and to plan for that new future. So that's it for me this week. See you all online next week, and if there's any particular things you'd like me to discuss or talk about, leave the comments. And likewise, if you love what I'm saying, or perhaps you don't like what I'm saying at all, that's okay. Please leave a comment, like and share. And so what we're keen to do is get as many people listening and watching to these videos as possible. So that's it for me this week. Go out, have fun, and we'll see you online next week. Cheers.